The Halloween Gambit. To start off, I do not recommend playing the Halloween Gambit in competitive games. It is incredibly risky, and there are lots of things that Black can do to prevent this Gambit. However, the only reason I'm posting it is because it's Halloween today. You can play this in like over-the-board matches, but maybe not in competitive chess. The Gambit starts with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, and then knight f6. This is the 4 knights game. And then white will sacrifice its f-knight for the e-pawn. Now black may look at this knight and think, wait a minute, that's a free knight. It's not really a free knight because you took a pawn, but it's a free 2 points of material. So black will take. And then white will play d4, attacking this knight. Here, the black knight has 2 options. First, we'll discuss this one. In this scenario, white will play e5, attacking this knight. Now this knight needs to move. And this loses a knight, this loses a knight, this loses a knight, this loses a knight. So the only move is to go back. Finally, white plays bishop to c4 with ideas of playing queen f3 and attacking this very weak pawn. In response, black could play d5, but you can literally take that pawn, because if the queen takes, then the knight takes back. They could also try and play c6 after, in which case you just slide back with the bishop. And now you have a better position than your opponents, with more room, with these 2 pawns. Also you have ideas of castling and queen f3. The other thing your opponent can do when you play d4 is your opponent could take the knight and put it on c6. If your opponent takes their knight back to c6, then play d5. And if they play knight e5, then play f4, attacking this knight. Now the knight has no option but to go back here, and then play e5. This pawn is protected by this bishop, this pawn is protected by this pawn, and this pawn is protected by the queen and the knight. So now the opponent needs to move their knight. They can't take because all 3 pawns are defended, so your opponent has to go back to g8. And now you play d6, which is a pawn trade. And if takes, then takes back. And your bishop can't take because it's defended by the queen. This pawn here is very powerful, since it blocks the bishop from ever getting out, because if takes, then takes. And if goes here, then takes. And also sets up for a very nasty trap. If knight b5, you could play here, and you could check the king and win a rook. As well as that, you could castle queenside to get the rook over here to protect that pawn. Also, you have a really open e-file, which you can use to check your opponent. So, although you're down 2 pieces of material, you have lots of room, you're prominently dominating the center, and you have ideas of developing and castling, maybe even queenside actually, and queen e2 and probably knight b5. However, this gambit does come with some risks, so do play this gambit carefully. That was the Halloween Gambit. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.